Good day! BusinessMirror offers you stories, conversations, and insights. With this session we're calling Freshly Brewed. Like great coffee to savor, Freshly Brewed tells compelling stories through the interaction between the most interesting people and BusinessMirror's roster of journalist hosts, discussing the hot issues of the day, or topics still unfolding, or brewing. And these compelling stories are shared with you via BusinessMirror's multimedia platform. Today, we are tackling a topic that has been in the news for quite some time, cryptocurrency. And no, it has nothing to do with Superman's source of weakness. That's kryptonite. Cryptocurrency is a new way of investing, but you have to be sure that you're doing it right. Our host for today is BusinessMirror's multimedia content creator, producer, Eiron Francisco. And let's listen in to his conversation with Wei Zhou, the CEO of Coins.ph.
Good day, everyone. I am Eiron Francisco, multimedia content producer of BusinessMirror. Welcome to another insightful episode of Freshly Brewed. Today, we have an exciting and insightful conversation ahead as we dive into a topic that has stirred a lot of interest these past few years, cryptocurrency. If you're a seasoned trader or just starting to explore the world of digital assets, this discussion is for you. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, joining us is a key figure in the crypto industry, Mr. Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.ph, one of the leading digital wallet and crypto trading platforms in the Philippines. We'll talk about his journey, the evolving landscape of cryptocurrency, and how you can navigate this space safely and wisely. Sir Wei, welcome to Freshly Brewed.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so first off, let's get to know a little bit better. Sir Wei, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you were doing before you became the CEO of Coins.ph?
Sure. So I became the CEO of Coins.ph in 2022. Prior to that, I was actually the CFO at Binance, which is one of the largest exchanges globally. And then prior to Binance, which I joined in 2018, I've been CFO at sort of several internet startups, two of which went public on NASDAQ. So I was a NASDAQ listed company CFO for about 4 or 5 years. And then prior to that, I started off my career as an investment banker with Goldman Sachs.
Okay, so that's an impressive track record. Now you're at the forefront of cryptocurrency movement here in the Philippines. So now let's break it down for our viewers. So for those who are new to the concept, what exactly cryptocurrency is? And I know cryptocurrency has been around for a long time, and a lot of people hear about Bitcoin and Ethereum, but not everyone fully understand what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think crypto, all-encompassing, I think a lot of it depends on what field you're in. I think for an average investor, I view cryptocurrency as just a new asset class. I think when you're looking at fundamental financial investing, you can invest in stocks, which are classified as equities. You can invest in fixed income like bonds. You can invest in real estate. And I think cryptocurrency is emerging as a new asset class that we can invest in. As someone who's been in tech for the last 20 years of my career, I view cryptocurrency not just as a new asset class for investment. I view it as a whole new industry. I think the term that we generally use is called Web 3.0. So I compare it to almost like the reconfiguration of the internet. I think the internet arrived in the mid-90s, and I think that has brought, basically transformed all of our lives in terms of how we communicate and how we travel, how we shop. And I think what cryptocurrency is doing, it is actually innovating the financial layer of the internet, which is essentially, how we spend our, what do we do with our money? And I think that's sort of the transformative nature of cryptocurrency, in that it encompasses, the money layer of the internet.
All right. So it's amazing how this space has evolved.
Mhm.
But let me ask you, how did you personally get into crypto space?
Mhm.
Was there any particular moment that made you realize that, okay, this was the future?
Yeah, sure. I think it goes back to sort of my experience, actually prior to sort of joining Binance as our CFO in 2018. I was actually a user of the cryptocurrency exchange. And the moment I realized that this was when I was, I was actually had just moved to the U.S. and then I was trying to move some money from my Hong Kong bank account to my U.S. bank account, and then I could only do certain portion of it online. If I wanted to move, transfer a larger portion, I had to like go to a physical branch in Hong Kong, but then I wasn't physically there. So, and then so I think if you do travel a lot and then you do have sort of financial needs, you realize sort of the incumbent, financial system isn't that friendly, basically, because like that's my money. It just I'm physically between places right now and I need to move it. And that's when I actually started looking at cryptocurrency as a way to sort of like move assets around. I think that's one use case. And I think the second use case is when a company that I had invested in did an ICO back in 2017. And then they basically say, hey, go to this cryptocurrency exchange, sign up, get an account, and then we'll airdrop the tokens to your account. And then once I got the tokens, I can just basically sell it. I was like, this is amazing. And then once I got the money, I was like, is this real? And then I sent it out, and then I was able to be like, oh my gosh. So I can basically receive, a payment on my investment, receive return on my investment, and then I can transfer it out without actually going through any other third-party intermediaries. And so I think it was a combination of these things made me realize that, hey, this is the new this technology is actually going to transform, how we use money, right, and how we invest, and then how we sort of like save, and how we, and I think for me that was just quite that was prompted me to sort of come into this space, because I think in my previous life as CFO I had done IPOs before, okay. So I kind of get the point of like, okay, you list a company on a stock exchange, right? But then when the ICO came out, oh wow, this means that now you can for normal people, you can actually invest in sort of a lot of these early technologies. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's really transformative. Because I think, like you mentioned Bitcoin earlier, right? Yeah. When Bitcoin came out in 2010, 2011, it was actually the first, I would say, asset class, as I mentioned before, investable asset class, that's purely a bottoms-up movement, right? Because most generally, when we look at sort of the investment world, it's sort of a top-down. Mm-hmm. Right, where it's like sort of Wall Street adopts it, and then it pushes out to sort of what we call normies, average citizens. But crypto is sort of one of those things where like the people adopted it first, mm-hmm. right? It went from sort of just early adopters and from normal people like us. Like when Coins launched in 2016, mm-hmm. 2017, we were the first platform here in the Philippines for just normal people to buy Bitcoin. Back then, Bitcoin was like $300, $100, $200, $300, right? Yeah, so I think, and then finally, I think, 10, 15 years later, now basically Bitcoin is being adopted by Wall Street in terms of institutional investors, and then now in the news, basically nation states. So I think it's actually an all-encompassing thing, but it is one of those like bottoms-up movements, mm-hmm. that for me, just like I felt it was very, very transformatory.
Right. So you've had quite a journey, Survey. Now let's talk about Coins.ph, mm-hmm. knowing that it is a big name in the Philippine crypto space. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to take over and lead the company? Yeah.
Coins, Coins was actually, like I mentioned, founded in 2016-17 as a digital wallet originally, and then Coins actually has had a very unique journey in that in 2017 it actually became one of the first licensed cryptocurrency exchanges, not just in the Philippines, but anywhere in the world. Because I think in 2016, 2017, very few countries globally has had crypto mm-hmm. regulation. I think Philippines was actually an early mover. Philippines and Japan were actually one of the two sort of earlier countries in having a license. For here, our regulator is the BSP, so the Central Banco Central Pilipinas is our regulator. And has been our regulator for 7 or 8 years now. Mm-hmm. So they're actually very knowledgeable about crypto, like vis-a-vis other regulators that have come across in other regions. So for me, I learned about Coins, quite early in sort of my crypto journey. And then in 2021, the owner of Coins, Gojek, actually put it up for sale. So I had left Binance then, and then I saw this as a very, very, very good investment opportunity. So I raised a fund with a private equity partner, and then we basically bought the company essentially from Gojek, and then I became the CEO as part of that acquisition. The opportunity that I saw was that this is a very undervalued asset, not just in terms of the business opportunity in terms of crypto, but actually in terms of the growth opportunity here naturally in the Philippines. I think Philippines is kind of like, in my global sort of traveling, I think Philippines has actually been looked at, like just from a global investment community, because and I just sort of like saw that here we have a country of 120 million people, half of our population are under the age of 30. We're very tech savvy. We speak fluent in English, and then so there's like this amazing upcoming demographic that is like that could sort of thrive in a crypto friendly environment, right? So sort of that was the macro factor. Specifically to Coins, I think it actually has all the right licenses it needs to carry on sort of to build, I think, build an entire sort of, I would say, crypto ecosystem here in the Philippines. It has a VASP license, virtual asset service provider license from the BSP. It also has a payment license, so it can actually use it as a normal e-wallet. And it also has a remittance and FX license, so it can actually help to sort of really transform the remittance business here, right? Which is as everyone knows, it's kind of expensive. It's not that convenient, right? And then we can actually help the 10, 15 million people, Filipinos that work overseas, to basically use crypto to help them to either get money home or help them to better their future. So I think it was a lot of these opportunities that made Coins, I think, a very attractive business. And then also, Gojek itself is not a crypto native business, right? It's a ride-hailing business, so they don't really know how to run a crypto exchange. And with my background of being the CFO at Binance, I think I bring a lot of know-how. Because when we took over the company, it only had listed, I think, 4 or 5 tokens. I think today we have over 100 tokens listed on, and then we support over 30 different blockchains on Coins.ph. I think and that has really transformed the business.
So Coins.ph came after you formed the Coins.xyz, right?
Yeah. So Coins.ph came first.
Okay.
Coins.ph was founded in 2016, so it's been around for a long time. Yeah.
All right. So with more and more people getting into crypto, and also with over 16 million users on your platforms, so some people are still asking, how do you actually invest in it? Is it there a right way to start?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to do is just go to Coins.ph or download the Coins.ph app, sign up, pass your KYC. It's like opening a digital banking account. It's like very simple. And then you send some money, send some pesos in, and then you can start buying Bitcoin.
Okay.
And we made the interface quite simple as well. And then it's like, I think there's a lot of misconceived notions that, Bitcoin price is too expensive, I can't buy 1 Bitcoin. It's like you can buy 100 pesos or 200 pesos of Bitcoin, right? Like because I think what I tell people is like the best way to learn about crypto is just to put a little bit of money into it and then see how it works, right? And then once you sort of once you've done that, you're like, and then you can actually see the balance in your wallet. I think that's actually it's quite exciting actually.
All right. So of course, people also want to know about the potential earnings. We've seen some crazy success stories, but what's the reality? What should investors realistically expect?
Yeah, I think like a lot of the success stories have come from basically people buying Bitcoin, what's called dollar cost average, which is basically say, I'm just going to buy $100 or $500 worth of Bitcoin every month, or $150 or $10 Bitcoin every week for a consistent period of time, right? And then there's been many stories of someone that's been doing that for a 4-year period, and they basically have now $1 million position or $2 million position in Bitcoin. And I think that's sort of like, for me, it's like, just starting putting a little bit of money into Bitcoin, but if you do it in a consistently over a period of time, I think you'll actually see you'll see your portfolio sort of increase in value exponentially over that time period.
All right.
And I think that's just sort of like a good way to start. But I do think that a lot of it just depends on your own personal sort of goals, right? So if you have, I think when people see cryptocurrency, they see it as like a get rich quick scheme. I think that's generally the wrong mentality. not just for investing in crypto and currency, but actually for investing in general.
Yeah.
Because if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true, right? There's no such thing as like a get rich quick scheme, right? But there are opportunities in crypto that does not exist in stock or does not exist in other types of investments, right? There are opportunities in crypto where, you know, if you get in on a certain project early, you can get a, you know, what I call asymmetric risk to the upside, right? It's like if I put $10 or $100 into something and I'm okay, I'm 100% okay with losing it, but then I have an opportunity of saying get 5 or 10x on that over an X amount of period, and I have a rationale or a thesis or my own sort of, you know, theory behind why it's going to happen, then you've done the research and you're okay with that risk. I think there's opportunity in crypto that does not exist anywhere else. I think sort of like those are like sort of two ends of the spectrum, right? One is sort of like, you know, just continue to accumulate Bitcoin over time, or you can basically take small calculated risks.
Right. So while crypto offers a lot of opportunities, one big question, one of the biggest concerns with crypto is security. So a lot of people ask, is it really safe to invest in crypto? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, my answer to that is like, you know, it's just sort of like using an e-wallet or using a digital bank, right? Usually you go to with a regulated financial institution. Like so for us, and then a lot of the risks comes from not knowing how to use your wallet or not knowing how to send money back and forth or who to send money back and forth to. So for us, you know, we have, you know, international grade type of security in terms of, you know, protecting, but, you know, we do have different types of measures you can add on your Coins account in terms of like 2FA setting, in terms of like, you know, we scan your face sometimes to, you know, for you to withdraw your money. So we do put sort of different layers of protection on sort of on our accounts. So if you do want to start, because I think there is a big talk about self-custody, but I do think that, you know, if you're not comfortable with that, I do say, you know, invest through a regulated financial institution like Coins.
All right. So of course, with anything valuable, scammers are always lurking, and we've seen some crypto scams pop up over the years.
Yep.
So what are some red flags that should people watch out for to avoid scams?
Yeah, like I said, offering like promise of impossible returns. I think any scheme that promises you double your money overnight or guarantee 20% return, like there's no such thing as a guaranteed.
Okay.
Like look under, like for me, it's always like spend a little bit of time, and if they're guaranteeing you 10% or 20% or 100% return, ask them where is that return coming from, right? I think these are the type of sort of the financial scams, right? The other type of scams I've seen are basically identity scams, where they basically try to steal your identity, right? And then to basically spoof your cell phone number or identity to basically try to hack into your account. I think those things are that means basically you have to put additional layer of protection on your accounts, or just be very careful in terms of like, you know, in giving out your phone number or giving out your identity documents.
Right. So crypto moves fast. So what are the latest trends that you are seeing in the industry?
Yeah, I think right now what I'm seeing is actually a couple of big trends, right? I think one is just deregulation of crypto.
Okay.
So what that means is that with the new election in the U.S., the new Trump administration is actually what I call becoming much more pro-crypto versus the previous Biden administration. So they're going to foster what I call a growth mindset rather than a regulation mindset. So I think what that means is that you're going to see a lot more DeFi, decentralized finance, or on-chain finance, or either DeFi or on-chain finance, right? So you're going to see a lot more DeFi projects coming out, or DeFi projects that kind of exist in the U.S. finds their sort of regulatory permission. So I see a lot more proliferation of DeFi in the future. Not today, but I think in the upcoming year, right? The second area that I see is actually I actually think one of the things that sort of was quite popular last year is actually meme coins. I think that's going to continue to run, right? Like you're seeing basically, you know, the president of the United States issuing a meme coin. You're seeing all types of celebrities coming out and trying to play around in this. I think this is a much riskier area vis-a-vis sort of like some of the tried and true names in DeFi, right? And then the third area that I see an opportunity in are actually gaming. I think that was something that was quite big in the Philippines, I think a couple of years ago with Axie Infinity. And I do see, as a lot of these gaming projects and companies have had, 4 or 5 years to develop their games, to develop their user systems, I actually see gaming coming back, second half of this year as well.
All right. So also, President Trump has reportedly told the U.S. Treasury to stop making pennies. Apparently, the cost to produce them is way more than their actual value.
It costs 2 pennies to make 1 penny.
Right. Yeah. So now some people are saying that this is just another sign that cash is slowly fading, but digital assets, maybe even Bitcoin, are the real future of money. So what's your take on this? Are we truly heading toward a completely digital economy, or do you think this signals a bigger shift in how we view money?
Yeah, I mean, like the point that I made earlier, the internet has come to disrupt every single industry, right? If you look at the last 20 years of the internet, it has disrupted how we shop, how we order things, and then I think the internet has finally come for sort of 3 what I call really incumbent institutions. The first one is money. The internet is coming to revolutionize money, right? And then I think crypto and then Bitcoin was the start of it, and I think it sort of has finally pushed that rock over the hill. And instead of having sort of like what I call sort of like headwind, now we're going to have tailwind in that revolution. And the other institution, internet is coming for military, as we're seeing in the Ukraine war, right? Instead of sort of humans fighting, you have drones and other type of internet enabled. And then what you're seeing with Doge in the US now, the internet is actually coming for government systems, right? In terms of revolutionizing how government manages its spending, right? So I think internet, like sort of the internet coming for the revolution of money, I think Bitcoin is sort of like the head of the shaft per se, right? That's coming in, and I think what you're seeing now is that you're going to see the U.S. government starting to add Bitcoin as part of its national reserve, right? And I think you're already seeing other countries doing it. You're seeing corporates doing it,
correct,
right? And I think that's just going to be one of these sort of natural progressions.
Okay.
So that's one bucket. The other bucket, in terms of like my view, in terms of like cash and other stuff, and I think this is where I think what you're seeing, the first regulation that's going to first regulation with regards to crypto that's going to get passed in the U.S. is actually going to be a stablecoin regulation. I think stablecoins is actually because I think right now most of us kind of have evolved from cash to e-money.
Yeah.
I think stablecoin is going to be like an evolution of e-money. And then for us, we've pushed out a product last year, a developer called a peso-backed stablecoin, PHPC. It is approved by the BSP to operate in a sandbox environment. We hope to bring it out of the sandbox environment soon. And I think this is where one of those innovative products that we could sort of be ahead of the curve on here in the Philippines.
All right. So I just want to ask, do you think there are risks involved when political figures like Trump get so heavily invested in this space?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think his family is working on it. I think him personally probably less so.
Right, yeah.
Right. But I do think that like what you're seeing with I think what you're seeing is you have to look at sort of like I would say the big picture of what's going on in the U.S. right now, and then sort of what Trump kind of represents, right? Because I think Trump represents sort of like let's bring innovation, let's make innovation sort of the front of the equation rather than sort of like the back room, right? What you're seeing is you're actually seeing technologists like Elon Musk sort of being an active member of the Trump administration. It's like the first time in U.S. history they have an AI and crypto czar, right? Who's actually coordinating with Congress in the U.S. to pass, AI regulation or to pass crypto regulation, right? To basically put U.S. at the forefront of this sort of these leading products, right? And I think what our lesson should be here in the Philippines is that we should not be afraid of these new technologies, right? We should take the time to learn about it, to use it, and then basically see how we can use AI, how we can use crypto sort of within sort of our own nation building efforts, right? Because I think what I tell people is sort of like, hey, we actually have, like with coins, like our technology, our product is on par with like Coinbase, like with some of the leading, like we're one of the few sort of, online businesses or internet companies here in the Philippines where our sort of like service level is home built, right? And then our service offering is on par with global standards of companies, right? Like that's why I think like it's really important to understand that hey, we're not behind here. We're actually even ahead of the curve from a regulation perspective. Philippines has had crypto regulation since 2017, right? Our regulator knows quite well in terms of how to regulate crypto, like the things that people generally are concerned about in terms of AML, money line, all that stuff. We've already taken care of that with the tools. And so that's why I think like for us is like let's embrace that and then and then figure and jump ahead of the curve.
Yeah, correct. So for those who are considering entering the world of crypto, whether as an investor or entrepreneur, what tips can you share with them?
Yeah, I think a lot of people ask me like, where can I go to learn about it? Right. I think the most important thing is just sort of like the best way to learn is not to. Because you can read as much as you want, you can listen to podcasts as you want, you can watch YouTube as much as you want.
Right.
But the best way to learn is to try.
Right?
And then crypto is one of those things like it doesn't take that hard. Like how hard is it to like just go to Coins.ph, log in, and then put like 50 pesos or 100 pesos and buy 100 pesos of Bitcoin, and then because once you put your money in it, you're financially motivated to learn more about it, right? The motivation is different, right? Then you have skin in the game, right? So I think because this is one of those things. This is one of those technologies. It's like I joke around. It's like when Google started, right? You couldn't invest in Google until Google went public, right? But even nowadays, average Filipinos can't invest in Google. You have to have a US dollar stock account, right, to buy Google or Apple, right? But Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, very different, right? Anyone here can buy it. Right? It is still an early stage, right? If you look at the number of crypto users globally, 400 million, that's where the internet was like in 1999, right? That's where we are for crypto compared to sort of the growth of crypto versus the growth of the internet. Like we're still very early in sort of the crypto growth cycle, right? This is one of those few things you can actually both use it. You can use Ethereum for DeFi. You can use it to send money. You can use Solana. Right. You can actually even use Bitcoin. It's one of those things that you can actually both use and buy to invest, right? So I was like, it's almost like for me, it's almost like why don't you just try a little bit and then see what happens, right? So and then hopefully you try it through Coins.
So for the first time investors or entrepreneurs, they should start trying.
Because it is one of those things that is both an investable asset and it has a utility in that you can actually use it.
All right.
Right? It's very, very interesting.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Wei. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts with us today. And it's been a very informative conversation, and I'm sure many of our listeners now have a better understanding of cryptocurrency and how to approach it wisely. So to everyone watching, if you're interested in learning more, be sure to check out Coins.ph and do your research before diving into crypto investing. It's been a very informative conversation, and I'm sure many of our listeners now have a better understanding of cryptocurrency and how to approach it wisely. To everyone watching, if you are interested in learning more, be sure to check out Coins.ph and do your research before diving into crypto investing. Stay safe, be smart, and happy investing. This has been Eiron Francisco, and we hope you will tune in again next week for another Freshly Brewed session.
And that wraps up our Freshly Brewed episode for today. Thank you for tuning in to Freshly Brewed. Stay informed, stay inspired, and make smarter choices every day with BusinessMirror. For the latest stories and updates, visit our website, businessmirror.com.ph, for a broader look at today's business. And follow us on our social media channels. Stay ahead, know more, and see you next time.